Welcome, 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 everybody. It is today is October 14th, 2025, and this is our October Lyn and Lori webinar. This is where you get to ask any questions that you want to ask of either Lyn or myself, and we would love to answer your questions and talk to you. This is a free thing that we do most months. We don't do it every single month. And we did take a year-long break last year, but hopefully distance makes the heart grow fonder, and we've been doing it again this year. It's been a lot of fun, and we're really enjoying getting to be with you, just this time that we get to spend with you once a month. And so, hey Dax, good to see you. Okay, so here is Lyn, a different Lyn, asking, Lori, I'm taking your 6-week CRV class and enjoying it very much. You look amazing, by the way. Well, thank you. I think it's actually Zoom that makes me look good. I'm on module 4 and feeling as though I'm making everything up and it's not accurate. At what point will I be able to actually remote view? Okay, so the purpose of the course is to teach you the structure. And while you're in the course, while you're learning the structure of CRV, that's the focus. Sight be damned, structure is everything. Because once you learn the structure, then that's what carries you through. Even that being said, we have several mantras that we teach. One, of course, the first one is describe, don't identify. That's one of our main ones. But I have another mantra, which is give yourself permission to make a mistake. Because if you're really fearful about making mistakes, a lot of times that will cause you to edit and you won't let all your thoughts make it onto the paper. And the other thing that I like to say is give yourself permission to make stuff up. And I don't usually say stuff. I usually say a four-letter word there. But, but you want to give yourself permission to make things up, because I found that that was a huge turning point for myself and for many, many hundreds of viewers that I've taught, is that when they stop trying to be perfect and stop trying to get everything right, and they just let the information flow. And letting go means giving yourself permission to make stuff up. Once you give yourself permission to make things up, you'll find that the information just flows and it becomes more and more accurate as you practice. So right now, don't focus on accuracy, just focus on getting into the process of letting those information that's popping into your head come out your mouth and make it onto the paper. Get your body involved, learn the structure, and then things start really progressing. Also, I've found that people who pair up with a CRE buddy make tons more progress so much faster than people who struggle on their own. So if you haven't yet taken advantage of your free months in Club PRV, I really encourage you to do that, because that's where I give out assignments. I meet with everybody. We meet several times a month. You can also meet with Natalie, who comes out of France. And by doing this, you're meeting with other remote viewers, you're getting your work looked at, you're staying practicing, and you can work with other people, and your progress is going to explode. So those are my suggestions to you. Lyn, are you still muted? I think you're still muted.
The thing is, like a beginning karate student will go for 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and in their mind, they want to go out and win a fight or something like that, you know. And in module 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're not going to be a professional remote viewer. You learn to make mistakes, you learn through your mistakes, and the thing of wanting to be totally accurate, I can tell you how to do that. Practice patience, practice patience, practice patience. Okay. You do that and it will come to you. But you got to learn the structure. You got to learn how to use the tools. Uh, somebody who's never worked on a car, you hand them a toolbox, they're going to make mistakes. But as they go, they'll learn how to work on a car, things like that. Just be patient, okay? It will come.
You definitely will. That's such a great answer, Lyn. That was awesome. Okay, good deal. All right, next we have Hugh says, is it okay to try 2 different attempts initially on ideograms in phase 1? Oh, we usually take we call that taking the coordinates, but we usually do that several times.
Mhm.
so that you can make sure and get all the gestalts because you often don't get the as many gestalts that first attempt. If I
Yeah.
understood the question correctly, Keith.
Yeah. In fact, the way that it's done is you take the coordinates, you do the ideogram A and B, and then the cue that the monitor will give you, and you should give yourself, is there may be other gestalts at the site. Would I like to take the coordinates again? And take them again. Yeah, absolutely.
We have the greatest questions coming in, Lynn. Did you see Angelina says, "Hi, hello, I'm Angelina, and I'm new and struggling with the ambiance exercise. I
Mm.
go room to room and nothing." I'd love for you to take this one, Lynn. Talk to her about the ambiance exercise.
Okay. Um, when you go from room to room, you're not trying to identify the ambiance. You're trying to make yourself uh, sensitive to a feeling. So you're in the bathroom. The bathroom has an ambiance. You walk out into the living room. There's a different feeling of the two rooms. Okay. One's closed in, the bathroom echoes sound and all that. You get out into the living room, it's wide open and all that. It has a different feel to it. And you're not trying to identify the feel of each room. You're trying to sensitize yourself to a difference. And when you get out of your car into a parking lot, there's a different feeling from when you're in your car in the parking lot. Then you walk across the parking lot into a store, there's a difference in feeling of the store around you than when you were out in the open in a parking lot. And so you try to notice the difference in feeling, how much change there is. You're not trying to identify it. What you're trying to do is make yourself sensitive to it. And one of the analogies we give is, okay, that's not sensitive at all. Okay. You do that 100 times, 1,000 times, and pretty soon your hand is sensitive. And if you pay attention like that to your ambiance, every time you go through a room, pretty soon your sense of ambiance becomes very acute. And it gets to the point where you're talking to somebody and you're listening to what they say, and it's truth, 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 lie, truth, truth, lie. And you're sensitive to that because the ambiance changes when a person tells a lie than when they're telling the truth. And so you're not trying to identify it, you're trying to be sensitive to it. And if you try to identify it, you get nothing. You
That's
try to
great.
get the feeling, yeah, you're going to get it.
I knew you were going to give a beautiful answer to that one. I was like,
Okay.
I don't know if I could do that one as justice as well as Lynn could. Catherine Garcia. Catherine, you said you were recently diagnosed with level 2 autism, ADHD, CPTSD, and dyslexia with will the hypersensitivity help with CRV? Have you had other autistic students before? I have many students all over the spectrum. I'm sure Lynn probably does too. Lynn, are you aware of students that you have that are somewhere on the autism spectrum?
Well, yes. Uh, well, the hypersensitivity help with CRV. Yeah. Don't expect the CRV to cure it, but um, the learning the CRV and learning the structure will also give you structure and control over the hypersensitivity. So it works both ways.
Also, Catherine, I have myself, I also have CPTSD and ADHD, and I am not very high on the spectrum. I've taken, yeah, I think everyone is somewhere on the spectrum, whether you're completely on this end of it or completely on that end or somewhere in the middle. But I do have grandkids and children who are on the spectrum. So I just want you to know that all these conditions that people label you with and doctors label you with and put on you, They are all things that can be either managed or overcome if you put in the work. And I find that it's something I work at every day. I mean, I through
Yeah.
reading, meditation, exercise, journaling, all those kinds of things. I've never been on medication for any of these things. But I have been diagnosed with them. So I just make sure that I keep myself, I'm really vigilant and diligent, on monitoring and managing. And I also am very open to those around me who know me well. If they can see something going on, like Jim, for example, he'll be like, "How you doing today?" And he'll give me this concerned look, and I know that he's picking up on something that I'm going through. So utilize those around you and your loved ones as much as you can as well to kind of help you be self-aware so that you can then take steps to help manage yourself. And don't let these diagnoses define you or control you. That's my
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah. I don't have any of those problems, but I have the problems of forgetfulness and doing stupid things.
Oh no, I have those too.
Yeah. I started to talk, I gave to the Mensa group this last time, and I said, when you get my age, your memory is tied up in the habits you've made in life and the notes you keep. Problem is, one of the habits I've made in life is to always forget my notes.
Okay, okay. Fran Johnson asked, "Have you remote viewed Skinwalker Ranch?" I personally have not remote viewed Skinwalker Ranch. Lynn, have you remote viewed Skinwalker Ranch?
Some I've been asked to, some was tasked to it, and some just on my own interest. Yeah. Uh,
And Dax, who's attending this, I assigned Skinwalker Ranch to her one time long ago.
uh,
But
Strange place.
yeah,
Strange
it
place.
is.
Yeah.
It is an unusual, lots of unusual, excuse me, lots of unusual energy. The before Skinwalker Ranch was very famous at all, when that guy first came out with the book of what was it called? Something with the Skinwalkers, and it was all about Skinwalker Ranch, and he lived out there for a while, and he wrote that first book that came out.
Mhm.
Jim and I read that with great fascination, and then we later were asked to go out there and do some things out there, so do some remote viewing out there. But it was an interesting it's an interesting place. Okay, that's enough said about that. We'll talk about. All right, how about Yes? Yes says, "Thank you for doing all this and all the teachings. Can OBE be used for remote viewing? Are there any drawbacks of using OBE if it can be used?" One thing I just want to say before we answer that is that I have an article in the blogs on my website about the difference between CRV and OBE,
Right.
which is a good thing to read if you're curious about how they interrelate or how they're alike, how they're different. They are very different, just to say that. I know that Joe McMoneagle uses OBE in his remote viewing. He's never been a fan of CRV, and I don't
Right.
think, and he doesn't do CRV unless he's forced to. Is my understanding. I mean, I know Joe, and my understanding of Joe is that he only does CRV if he has to, but he doesn't like it very much. And he uses OBE, but he's had like how many near-death experiences now, Lynn? He's just
Oh,
chalking those near-death experiences.
several. Yeah.
Yeah, he's chalking them up. And every time you have a near-death experience, it definitely heightens your psychic ability. I mean, I know that it did mine when I had one. So I
Yeah.
think that as far as using it though, one of the big drawbacks with OBE is you're looking through your subconscious mind, and so you're not looking at reality as your conscious mind sees it. And so some things will seem distorted, and some of your reporting, which is the benefit of CRV, is it's an interview and report methodology versus OBE, where it's completely experiential and nothing's getting recorded while it's happening. Lynn, would you like to add to that at all?
Yeah, that nothing's being recorded while it happens is one of the major things. Uh, CRV is not done in an altered state. It's done in a conscious state. Um, and so you can't do it asleep, you know. And the thing is, when you have an OBE experience, you come back and write a summary. When you're doing CRV, you're writing details, 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 details. And so the two just really don't mix. They really don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Hey Trixie, I just want to ask you real quick for the recording, did you pin our both of our pictures on there? I have them pinned side by side, but I'm not the one doing the recording. It's recording on your end, so I just want to make sure that you have it set up like that. You probably do.
Yes, both of you are on my screen.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, good. And then Jacqueline asked, I took the intermediate CRV online in class. Will you be doing another one? I could use a review. If, oh, did you take the live one, the live 3-day, Jacqueline, or did you take a video course? Because the video course is available to you forever. I think both Lynn's and mine, right? Lynn, all your courses are on video are available forever once they buy it, right? They get to keep it forever.
Mine,
Yeah.
or is she talking about your?
Well, no, I was just, mine, I'm pretty sure we both have the same policy, right? When somebody
Yeah,
buys a video course, they get to
yeah.
keep it forever.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, Jacqueline, if you're talking
And
about
well, and in fact, mine, if you take it in class and you want to come back a year later or whatever, you already paid. So
yeah,
there's no recharge for it. Yeah.
yeah, so we have a retake policy as well. Ours are that if you take a paid course, a 3-day video course, the retake policy is you can take it as many times as you like for 2 years. If you're in Club PRV, you can take it as many times as you like forever, as long as you're in Club PRV. And so that's the way it is for any of my paid basic, intermediate, or advanced courses.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, so if and Lynn's yeah, and Lynn's are like that too. So yeah, hopefully if you're in the 2 years, you can retake it. If you're talking to me, if you're talking to Lynn, you can retake it. If you and I'm are we teaching another one? Are we doing another intermediate live course? I do 2 a year. And so I think I've already done the intermediate. I don't know. I don't, Trixie can tell us. That's a Trixie question. Trixie, I don't think we have another intermediate scheduled for 2025, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So you're saying you forgot your notes?
I don't ever know that. It's like that famous joke, me and my brother know everything. That's something my brother knows. Anyway,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I do not have another one planned for 2025. Of course, coming up on the end of 2025. And if this is the month, October is the month when I am supposed to plan my schedule for next year, my live class schedule for next year. And so I'll be getting that up on the calendar sometime this month,
Good.
hopefully, if I stick to it. And then and Lynn, right now, you occasionally still are like you've taught some MedApps courses lately that been hearing rave reviews on.
I taught the MedApps class last week. The ranch, um, Timo came with the German class. The first class taught at Ranch was in German. Then we had the Ervicon conference, and then I taught the medical apps class. Turned out beautifully. Uh, it just it worked. Uh, Fantastic. Yeah. This is a picture, by the way. The background is a picture of that was taken at the ranch. Yeah.
Is it a sunset or a sunrise?
Sunset. Yeah.
Really pretty. Really, really pretty. Yes, and so depending on what you want, Jacqueline, as far as intermediate, a live 3-day intermediate, I think, Lynn, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm of the two of us, I'm the one still teaching 3-day live workshops as far as basic, intermediate, and advanced goes. I also teach MedApps and a class called Beyond Advanced CRV for professional viewers and
Mhm.
the project management course. The courses available on video, Lynn, which courses do you have now available as video courses?
I have the basic, intermediate, and advanced. I also have an ARV course. It's a very short one, but if you do it correctly, it'll take you almost a year to get through it. But it has, I think, 16 videos that if you do it correctly, it's going to take you a year to get through it, and you will be a good ARVer. But then I have some other courses, the videos for them lined up. Right now, what I've been trying to do is I'm working on before I kick the bucket, um,
No
I
kicking the bucket allowed. That's what Jim would say. No kicking the bucket allowed.
not allowed. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to get everything down in writing, including all the stuff that they're refusing to tell the public everything. And then on my deathbed, I can sign the thing. Yeah, publish this. Yeah,
push the button and have it all go.
push the button. Yeah. But I'm trying to get those books written.
Yeah, so as far as what's available currently, Trixie just posted, she's posted, oh, and she's been posting things for everybody. She said she posted the link to what's the difference between astral projection and controlled remote viewing,
Oh,
and
good.
she's posting a link to all of Lynn's courses, to the link on your website. Where you can, if you click that, guys, you'll see all of Lynn's available courses on video. I currently have basic, intermediate, advanced, ARV, and project management available on video. And I'm working on the third remote viewing how-to book and trying to get that done. It's just been time. Time is my biggest problem. Anyway, trying to get that next book published, and also, you know, we're always looking at courses we can put out. However, video courses, there's certain video courses that I mean, certain courses that we don't feel we should put on video. So some things might not get put on video yet, but we do have basic, intermediate, advanced, and the ARV course. My ARV course, I don't even know how many videos it is, but it's 11 modules. Most of you guys are used to my 6-week courses, which are 6 modules with 7 videos in each module. So there's 42 videos for basic, 42 videos for intermediate, 42 videos for advanced. But my ARV course is 11 modules. So I'm not exactly sure how many total videos it is, but it is 11 modules and you get one a week. So you could take you 11 weeks to go through the entire course. But it is very hands-on. Every single class I teach live, we have people who win a lot of money. And in this course, which is a video of a live course that I was actually teaching, Farrell, who's attending here right now, went out while the course was being filmed, and she went at lunchtime. I gave everyone the assignment to follow through on what I taught them in the morning. She went out and came back, and I think she won something like $1,200 or $1,400 or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
So she came back and said, "Oh my gosh, I won you!" And it's all there on the video, in the video, in the ARV course, the
Yeah.
film course. So that was a really fun thing to happen.
Yeah. We've had several ARV courses here, and at the last afternoon of the last day, I take everybody up to the Indian casinos. And it's well known when you go to an Indian casino, you're donating to the Indian tribe. Okay. You're not going to come back with money. And we've had one viewer break even, and every other viewer has come back with more money than they went with. They've all been winners. So uh, yeah, if you take the ARV course, it's a good idea. Go
So,
ahead.
Trixie, is everybody able to access the chat to be able to see what you've posted in the chat?
Yes,
Because, okay, good. So you guys, it's in the, Trixie posted in the chat the link to the blog on OBE and CRV. She
Ah,
posted a link to all of Lynn's courses. She posted a link to all my courses, all my video courses. And then she also posted a link because I am next week teaching a live 3-day basic course, October 21 through 23rd. 3-day fast track live video course. Okay, then we have more questions. I'm going to go here. We're taking these questions in order, folks. So just in case, Jacqueline's, okay, I already did that one. Okay, so Jacqueline, hopefully you got that answered. Then Tiana says, if anyone would like to buddy up with me for viewing, please let me know. I put a comment in the PRV forum about it. Please respond there. Thank you. Yes, Tiana's looking for a partner, guys. Go into the PRV forum and sign up to be her CRV buddy. And then Raul asked a wonderful question. Do you feel like the CRV journey is a spiritual awakening? And I sure feel like it was for me. Lynn, what about you? How did,
oh yeah, if it's done right.
yeah.
Uh, if if you just take CRV but try to mix woo woo into it and the other methods, uh, um, I think if you do other methods, you're already spiritual. Okay, but uh, if you take the CRV, yeah, you're going to have a spiritual awakening. I've seen it time and time and time.
And one thing that Mel Riley used to say a lot, he said, one thing, he said several things about spiritual awakenings, but one thing he said was, he said, you know, I saw a lot of guys, because he was in the unit 8 years, and he said, you know, 4 years, and then he was off 4 years, and then he was back in 4 years. And he said, I saw a lot of people come and go. And he said, the thing I noticed is that some people would go in atheist, but nobody came out atheist.
Right.
And the other thing I noticed is that people who went in with shallow values, like I just want to make money from this or
Yeah.
things like that, he said they never became good remote viewers. So if you don't really put the time and effort in to get
Right.
deep enough into it, it's not going to be a spiritual awakening. But if you really dive into it and you really practice a lot, then it does become a spiritual
Oh,
awakening
yeah.
for
Mhm.
sure. That's
Yeah.
my 2 cents anyway. Yas asked how to overcome performance anxiety before the session or practices during normal life hours. That's a great question. Yes, have you heard of the 3 steps to the set aside process? Trixie can post that in the chat as well. The 3 steps to set aside anything and get on with your life. It's just a thorough explanation of the set aside
Yeah.
process that Lynn teaches, that I teach because Lynn taught it to me. So if you guys are interested in that, that will do it. Yes, it even a lot of our students even have reported it's helped their kids improve their grades because they
Mhm.
use the set aside process to set aside test anxiety. It
Right.
can help you set aside social anxiety. It can help with a lot of things. It's a great process.
And one thing about it is that the fear of failure and all that comes from your conscious mind. Okay. The subconscious mind, hey, does this on a regular basis. It's your conscious mind that's causing the fear of failure or things like that. And Richie was just here. Richie left just a few minutes before this. And Richie is adamant about Richard Mahoney is a healer that uses CRV over in Ireland. And he's adamant about this. Care about the healing and focus on the healing and let your subconscious heal the person, you know, let the person heal. But in CRV, you want to really have a good session. The structure, focus your conscious mind on the structure. Let your subconscious do the viewing. Just and your conscious mind is there to take dictation, and that's it. Okay, not to figure out. Ooh, I know what the target is. And for people who want to like use it to make money, we have found that if you focus on the money, you're going to lose. But if you focus on the idea of, I'm going to find out what works, and so I'm going to keep data, and you keep your conscious mind focused more on the success of the session rather than on the money you win or lose, you're going to start winning money. Uh, it's just the thing of keep your conscious mind out of the way and let your subconscious do the viewing. It's the only one that's psychic anyway. So, you know, I don't remember uh, what the question here was, but the thing is, if if you focus on the structure will carry you through.
It was about overcoming anxiety
Oh, overcoming anxiety, yeah,
overcoming
and
anxiety and overcoming the anxiety of before a session, you know.
yeah, and the thing is, once you start doing that, you have complete control over the structure. So you stop worrying about the viewing. And when that happens, the fear goes away.
Very good. Okay, more questions. We've still got 41 more questions to answer, so we have to answer quicker.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, do many people make a living or decent supplementary income doing CRV? I would say no, not many.
I would say no, not many.
No, not many. I mean, there are people who do, but it's not many. You know, when you think there's 10 billion people in the world,
Yeah.
maybe there's a handful that are earning a
And
living.
and the problem is rarely ever the viewer or their accuracy. The problem is that we live in a society, if you don't know what the Cassandra effect is, look it up. One of the Greek goddesses was given the gift of prophecy and the curse that nobody would ever listen.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Also, if you look through history, you can see where there's been like great interest in psychic ability and intuition and things like that. And then the next generation that's born to those people are like, oh, that's all silly. And then the kids that are born to those people are like, but wait, I'm interested in that. And then the kids that are born to those people are like, Mom, you're crazy. And it kind of goes back and forth. So you have this, you look through history and you see this up and down thing of a generation really being interested, a generation not interested, a generation interested,
Yeah,
etc. And so that's another drawback. And then the other drawback that I have to state is that I noticed that a lot of people who are into this, for example, they just don't want to take the time to learn how to market. And there's still, out of 10 billion people, just a fraction of people even have ever heard of remote viewing, believe it or
yeah,
not. I run into people all the time who are like, what? Is this really a
uh,
thing? They just have never heard of it. And I'm thinking, how can they not have heard of it? There's documentaries, there's everything, but there's still so many people that have never heard of it. So one of my personal, what is the word I'm looking for? One of my personal passions is to tell more people about it. Go to things
yeah,
and speak at places where it's unlikely anybody's ever heard of it, so I can
yeah,
introduce it to them.
yeah. And
Rather than
like Lori said, in church, they all know that I'm a remote viewer. The teens are very interested in it. The older people are very interested in it, and the modern, you know, the the people in between, oh, you're going to hell. And
Darn it.
yeah.
Okay, so we answered that one. Now, moving on, Lynn Ann says, I did your little free course some time ago, and what I found challenging was that I was falling back into intuitive reader mode rather than sticking with the system, which is the structure. One of the things we like to tell our students, and I can say we, because since Lynn taught me, I already know what he teaches, and I know what I teach. And so since we're teaching the same thing, I can say we. I don't mean it like Queen Elizabeth in referring to myself as we. I'm referring to Lynn and me as we. But one thing that we teach is that you don't want to close your eyes while you're viewing. A lot of people will start viewing and they'll have their pen and they'll be writing on the paper and then they'll just start going. And as soon as you close your eyes, you start imagining stuff. And then you're moving into imagination mode instead of really relying on your subconscious to give you information. And I have found just from studying all my students over the years and my own results is that the stuff around you and when you're in a room and you've got like stuff on your desk and people, maybe even people around you, that can be a real helpful distraction to allow stuff to come through more. If you can kind of do that with your brain and you have the visual things, in your eyes and you're not imagining stuff because you've got stuff all around you, colorful things, just everywhere around you. So you can just have all this visual information while you're still also accessing the target with your subconscious and writing everything down. So that can be very helpful. So yeah, keep working on the structure. Um, and then Dana says, I've noticed my intuition can be inconsistent. Sometimes I receive clear warnings or impressions before something harmful happens, but other times I don't sense anything at all. Is this inconsistency part of learning certain life lessons, or could it be due to energetic or intuitive blocks? And it's so funny that Dana's asking this because just this morning I was thinking, I think I want to write an email or a blog about this very thing. Because
Yeah,
sometimes when something, and Lynn, maybe you've encountered this where something happens to you, something bad, like maybe you have a car accident or you buy the wrong thing or you make the wrong decision and people will be like, but you're psychic, like, but you're a remote viewer, like as if
yeah,
that means you can never have anything bad happen to you and you can never make a
yeah.
mistake. But being a remote viewer or being really psychic doesn't turn you into God. I mean, you're not
Yeah,
suddenly omniscient.
yeah.
And like Dana brings out, some things are life lessons that you're meant to learn. So,
Mm,
for example, if you have a warning that warns you away from something and it saves your life, then you say, "Oh, well, that's going to happen to me every time. Like, suddenly, am I going to just live this golden existence where nothing can touch me because I always know beforehand?" No, because then you probably wouldn't learn enough. You have to have some things happen to you, like, so you catch a cold or you get COVID or you or like Jim, we were on the road and these two German shepherds ran out in front of us and Jim hit one of them. Thankfully, the dog survived, but the car didn't. We had to, the car was in the shop for 2 weeks getting fixed because the whole front end was smashed from hitting that dog.
Mhm.
So you say, well, how come you didn't anticipate that the dogs were going to be there? Well, another time we were driving through Colorado in our 40-foot bus, and we're going around these winding curves on these really narrow roads with switchbacks in this bus. It was our maiden voyage in the bus. And suddenly I said, Jim, slow down, because when you come around the next curve, something really big is going to leap out in front of us. And Jim, my wonderful husband, who actually listens to me, slowed down. And then we came around the curve, and this massive moose or elk, with big antlers, came leaping. And had we not slowed down, we would have hit it for sure. We would
Yeah.
have come sailing around that corner and hit it. But I sensed it before it happened. Now, did I sense the German shepherds? No, not at all. In fact, I wasn't even watching because I think I was answering an email or something.
Yeah.
So I wasn't tuning in. So, so everything is a is either a lesson or you do get
Yeah.
warned, but you can't be on 24/7. That's my
No.
answer to that.
Listen, if you have inconsistency, that puts your quality right down there with all the rest of us, okay? And we did learn something in the unit, though. Uh, our unit had psychiatric oversight. Uh, and one of the things we found is that when you go into a slump, what's going to happen is your viewing accuracy drops. You work at it, work at it, work at it, and you'd have dog meat, pig slop sessions and all that, and then your quality comes back up. What we found is that when your quality comes back up, something in your life totally unrelated to remote viewing has been settled between your conscious and your subconscious mind. It wasn't about the remote viewing all along. It was that in your working with your subconscious, you unawarely uncovered something that was buried in there, and this conflict took place. And the conflict itself affected your viewing. And when that gets settled between your conscious and unconscious mind, your score comes back up. And so the inconsistencies doesn't always have to do with, the weather, the phase of the moon, or anything. More often, it's something in your own mind that has to get worked out. And while it's working out, you're going to have bad sessions. Okay.
Okay, and Jennifer, I didn't say a free month of CRV. I said free months in club PRV. So I have a club for my students, and when I sell a course, they get free months in that club. And that's like having somebody holding your hand and mentoring you right when you're in that phase of just starting learning all this stuff when you really need the most help. And that's why I give away free months with every class. And then you can attend these things and you get assignments from me, and I go over your assignments, and I'm right there with you on Zoom, just like we are now, except that we're in a meeting instead of a webinar. So I can see you and you can see me, and I get to go over the assignment and go over your session and help correct any structural things and give you tips and things like that. So it's a great club to be in. It is for people who have purchased a course, either the 3-day video course, either a 3-day live course, which I have coming up next week, or whether it's the 6-week video course. You can attend that. And Lyn also has a thing for his students. When they buy a course, they can attend on the weekends some meetings with him, and he guides them
Yeah. Mhm.
as well. So just to answer that question. And then we have Andy. Hi, Andy. Andy says, hi, Lori and Lyn. Any suggestions for trying to pivot from a received theme in an RV session so that it can encourage exploring other aspects of a target that might be present? Sometimes I find it difficult to get fresh, spontaneous, significant themed impression and often stay attached to the first main impressions. Thanks. I'm trying to make sure I understand the depth of
Yeah,
that
same
question.
here. If at the beginning of the session you get the feeling of, oh, I know what it is, that's your received theme as I'm trying to interpret this. Uh, you set it aside and you do a proper set aside so that it's there on the paper You've got a record of it, but then you go into your session and you say, okay, maybe that's true, maybe it's not true. I'm going to get what color it is, how it smells, how it tastes, and all that. And that will automatically pull you away from that uh, feeling of, oh, I know what the target is. Just get back to the very basics that you learn in the basic course. And when you do that, it helps you overcome that pollution of the feeling of, you know, this is this is a police case, or this is whatever, you know.
Another thing, Andy, too, is one thing I found that's really helpful is when you have a monitor, if you are working with a monitor, and I know sometimes you do, um, the monitor can sometimes find just something that you've said as you've been going along, you're sharing
Yeah.
perceptions, and that one perception can be a key to just pull you off into the right direction. You know, you suddenly get a perception that's a little bit odd or a little, and you can do this on your own too. If you're by yourself, if you suddenly get a perception that just seems a little bit different, like a horse of a different color amid all the other
Yeah.
perceptions, then say, well, move to that oblong thing or move to that
Yeah.
big thing. And that will, you know, so you want to kind of not just be stuck looking at your gestalts, but
Mhm.
also take some of the perceptions and move to some of those perceptions to see what that opens up for you as well, especially as
They
a
will move you away from that theme. And also, we teach this in the monitors course, and this is not a usual monitoring tool, but it works. And that is, if they cannot get you off that theme, they turn into a bad monitor. And they get you so focused on their interruption and everything else that it gets your mind off of it. And even to the point where you're working along on a target and you can't get away from that theme, the monitor may say, by the way, you had a low tire on your car. Did you get it fixed? And you say, what? And you've broken from it. Okay. And so there are a
They
lot of
break.
ways to get away from a theme like that. Yeah.
Yeah, monitors can help a lot with that,
Yeah.
too. So anyway, so yeah, just see if that works, Andy. And then also we can talk about this more too. We have Club PRV tonight if you can come. We're
Mhm.
having a Club PRV meeting tonight at 6 p.m. on Mountain Time.
Good.
And so let's see. Then Euphemia says, when you encounter noise, how do you clear it? How do you maintain a neutral, receptive state? I think we encounter noise 24/7, don't we? I mean, really, pretty much, you know, I mean, we counter a lot of static or a lot of pollution or whatever. And I think that answer though is different for everyone, depending on the main thing. But I find that the answer to a lot of questions is practice, practice, practice. Sometimes you
Mhm.
just have to just kind of strong arm
Yeah.
your way through it through a lot of practice sessions and some slumps where you feel like you can't remote view your way out of a paper bag and things like that. And Lynn, do you have additional tips?
Absolutely. On this, one of the quickest and best ways to do it is that rule that is a tool that people pass over and don't realize it's one of the most useful tools in remote viewing. Take a break. And Lori, what is the first rule of taking a break?
The first rule of taking a break, maestro, is take a
Take
break.
a break.
Take a break. And this is a funny thing, but we have students all the time who say, I know I'm supposed to take a break when I was on a break, but I was at the restaurant and suddenly I got this download about my target. Don't
Yeah,
be getting downloads when you're at a restaurant. You're on a break. Take a break.
yeah, yeah. And when you come back from the break, if you've gotten focused on one point, come back and view some other part of the target. That will stop you from getting back to that thing that's just holding on to you.
That's really good. All right, the next one is, I'm going to go ahead and delete these so we can keep going. What daily or weekly practices help you stay attuned and accurate? Oh gosh, well, I think the best thing is practicing
Mhm.
frequently and making a schedule to practice and finding a partner so you have appointments and scheduled times that you're going to practice with someone else. To me,
Yeah.
that is the biggest thing for staying attuned and accurate. Practicing, there's nothing that beats it.
Yeah. Back to the martial art. Uh, you get rusty on your martial art, you go back to the dojo. They don't say, okay, get in a fight now. They say, hey, wipe on, wipe off, wipe on, wipe off. Just go back to the basics. And and I have I always have my intermediate and advanced students go back every now and then to week one of the basic and start going through it again. And they say, oh, I've gotten out of the habit of doing this. And it will refresh it in their mind. And and that weekly practice of going back to the basics is going to help you stay attuned and will improve your accuracy.
It is. And years ago, like in September of 2013 is when I started having a mentoring club where people could join the club and they could, and they got mentored on a regular basis. And Pavel Trela joined the club in September 2013. And years later, he was still attending all these meetings. And years later, he said, now he had been, taken all my classes several times. He said, could I still attend basic? And I said, of course. And so we have it in our club where, no matter how high you go, you keep going up. You get into the basic club and the intermediate and advanced and so on and keep going. You can still you can attend any of the meetings or any of the club things from any of the lower levels because it brings you
Yeah,
back to the basics. And it's
yeah,
helpful, to keep those basics
yeah.
going. And I,
We teach stage one, stage two, stage three, like stair steps. When you get into actual viewing, you may be in stage six and you need, okay, somebody says, move 1 mile north, okay, and describe what's there. And your tendency is to stay in stage six and describe what's there. Hey, stage one, do your ideograms, you'll know what's there. And you can use the different stages as a tool belt, as tools on a tool belt. Pick any one out, use it when you need it, go back to it, the stage you were working with, and you're not then limited to stage one, two, three, four, five.
and I have to just comment that when I think it was the first class I ever took, basic with Lynn,
Mhm.
and Lynn said something about ideograms being, I could teach for weeks on ideograms. I remember he
Oh,
said
yeah.
something to alluding to that, and I remember thinking, these weird squiggles, how could he teach for weeks on these weird squiggles? It didn't make any sense to me then. And now, I mean, if you think about what we teach, and Lynn, you know all the classes that you've taught all the years, and all the classes I've taught over the years. If you think about all those classes, basic, intermediate, advanced, ARV, especially ARV, beyond advanced, the P6 tools that we use for beyond advanced, and even the Med Apps course, all the tools have a huge foundation in ideograms, really.
Right.
You learn that ideograms take on many forms, and then you learn the secrets of using ideograms in your daily life on a regular
Yeah.
basis just to get answers that you need throughout the
Yeah.
day. It's super fast. It's a fast way to get quick answers.
Yeah.
So,
We,
yeah, it's really good.
Richie and others were here, and Richie now is having somebody sign their name, and instead of doing handwriting analysis, he says this is their lifelong ideogram, and he will do that and get, but he treats it as an ideogram. The border guards here, I teach them that car is an ideogram. And usually they wave the car by. Sometimes they come up and look in the window and the back and all that. And I said, if you feel there's something about that suspicious about that car, treat it as an ideogram, touch it, and you'll know what's in the trunk, you know?
Mhm. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Kiki says she finally bet the spoon. Congratulations, Kiki.
Ah, good.
So great to meet you there too. Then Lynn says, do you have any recommendations for practicing ideograms not tied to a target? Yes, I'm finding that each ideogram I draw is very similar, almost identical to others I've drawn. Do I just doodle them? Yeah, we don't even use the word draw because draw brings a conscious element into it. We don't draw the ideograms. The ideograms spontaneously come out of your pen or your
Yeah,
finger, whatever. It's going to come out. It should be like like as Lynn would call it, a knee-jerk reaction. In your
yeah,
manual, Lynn, you call it a knee-jerk reaction. So we don't want to draw an ideogram because drawing then kind of intimates that you're actually sketching something. We don't want to do that. That's too conscious. We want to
right.
let something just in fact that's the purpose for the coordinates is you're writing the coordinates and suddenly the squiggle comes out. Just oh,
Hmm.
that's the way an ideogram should pop out. And I do teach, and I think Lynn does too. We teach, the ARV course, for example, in at least mine, I don't know what Lynn's has because I haven't watched it, but the one that I have, I spent a lot of time talking about how to use ideograms on a daily basis, that just not tied to a target, but just in a way that gives you answers. So I guess in that way, it is tied to a target in that if you tie it to a question you're asking, like,
Yeah,
should I buy the red one or the blue one? I mean, you're still tying it to a target. That's the target is the question is, the target is, should I buy the red one or the blue one? And you're using an ideogram or some form of ideogrammic practice, which is allowing the body to respond. The body's
yeah,
connected to the subconscious mind and to the conscious mind. And so it can give you answers. And
yeah,
all those answers come in the form of various types of ideograms, which go beyond
yeah,
just squiggles too.
yeah. And remember, Ingo said A, shape and feel. B, that's my ideogram 4. Okay. You can have a line that's straight and you think, oh, that's my ideogram for land. That's an AOL. That's your conscious mind saying, oh, I know what that is. Okay. You go back to that straight line and get the feel. One of them, it may feel gritty. That may be land. Another one, it feels slick. That may be something completely different. Next straight line may feel hollow. That's something else. It's not the ideogram on the line that is your gestalt. It's the combination of the shape and the feel. That's why Ingo didn't say A, shape, B, feel, C. You know, he says A, that shape feel, that's my ideogram for. Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Heather Wallace Brown said, Hello, Lynn. I trained with you back in 2020. And I was thinking that name is really familiar. And then I see the next one. Sorry, I meant Lori, not Lynn. I was going to say, I think I trained Heather Wallace Brown. So, Heather, welcome back. I'm glad that you're here. That's really awesome. And you're in London now. Yes, you've been away from CRV for 2 years and getting back into it.
Mhm.
Um, and Heather, if you're who I think you are, I just want you to know we now live in a house with flushing toilets. But anyway, and has
Uh,
anyone CRV'd three eye
just
atlas?
Heather, remember you already paid. Okay. Come back.
Well,
And,
but she trained with me, Lynn. She trained with me.
oh, change with you.
She
Okay.
trained with me.
Good.
She meant to
All
say
right.
Lori, but yeah. Anyway, so yes, but I'm glad you want to come back, and I think that you're going to love it. And you can always access the course, so you can kind of jump back in and refresh the way with the video course, and get back into Club PRV so that you're attending the meetings and getting assignments and meeting other people. That would be really great. And then as far as whether somebody has remote viewed that atlas, is it 3i atlas? Is that what it's called?
I think so. Yeah.
I have not. Have you, Lynn?
No. Mhm.
Do you know of anybody who has? I don't know of anybody lately. I mean, anybody recently.
No, but I do know one thing that in the Momo, whatever that was, okay, something goes through space. That something is big. It has a minor amount of gravity. Okay. It also, going through space, it will have static electricity. Therefore, the dust that's in space is going to collect on it. Therefore, by the time it gets here, it's going to look like a rock. Okay. So the fact that people say, oh, those things look like a rock doesn't mean they're a rock. maybe there's a ship in there that's just been attracting so much dust in all of its distance that it's covered with soil, you know. Who knows? So go ahead.
And we have Elizabeth Anglin says, I've been doing remote viewing for 27 years, but not doing CRV protocols, and was a professional veterinary intuitive before that. Still am that, but I'm not sure anymore, objectively, statistically, how complete and specific I'm being in my sessions. I feel like I need some reality check practice. Also, just out of long COVID with brain fog, and I'm aging. What level of detail am I missing that I don't know that I'm missing? Do you have an older, long-term professional intuitive tune-up program? Well,
I can answer this one. I've had many students who take the course and have good accuracy. Then they get on the internet and somebody says, "Oh, you should do it this way," and they try it that way, and their accuracy goes down. So then they try another way, and one day they call me and they say, "My accuracy has gone down." And I say, "Well, what have you been practicing?" "Oh, well, so and so told me to do it this way." And I say, "When you were doing pure CRV, did it work?" They say, "Yeah." And I said, "Then do PR straight CRV." And all that other stuff has proven to you it doesn't work. Come back to CRV. That's the one that worked for you. Stick with that. And all those other advices, ignore. Okay.
well, also I have students who make their living from other types of psychic work, like
Well,
medium,
yeah.
or whatever.
Well,
And
yeah, but you speak Spanish and you speak German. You don't mix the two.
right, exactly. So what I was just going to say though is that I think all these different methods, people become experts in a variety of methods, and then they wonder, well, should I add CRV to the mix? And the answer to that is it's like saying, if I have a toolbox that already has a hammer and a flathead screwdriver, should I add the other type of screwdriver to it? What's that one for the what's that
Uh,
kind of
Phillips screwdriver.
Phillips? So should I add a
Yeah.
Phillips head screwdriver? Yeah, you can, because it's a tool, and when you need a Phillips head screwdriver, you'll have that tool
Mhm.
ready. So
Yeah.
to me, all of these are like spokes on a wheel, of which consciousness is the hub of the wheel.
Yeah.
CRV is a tool. It's a wonderful tool. To me, it's kind of the granddaddy of the tools, because it's kind of a basket that organizes your
Yeah.
thoughts and your psychic things, and it allows you, Elizabeth, to get the kind of detail that maybe you haven't gotten up till now. It also gives you a great recording process that you can then database. So you could literally
Yeah.
tell somebody, you learn your strengths and weaknesses through it. We have Lynn has a free database. I have a free database that you can put your information into to get the answers, and to see what you're really good at. And so it gives you a real reality check when it comes to, oh, this is what I'm good at and this is what I suck
Yeah.
at. But also, there is no type of older long-term professional intuitive tune-up program if you're not coming from CRV, because our whole thing is CRV, ERV, and ARV. If you don't
Yeah.
already have a background in those things, there's no shortcut. It's not like we can say, well, here, just do this and it'll tune you up. No, you would have to take basic and start there.
Yeah.
I think that would be my response to that.
Yeah. And if you use another method, report it in the CRV structure. The CRV structure will help carry you through the reporting of what you got in the other, using the other method.
And then we have Francisca says, will there be an IRVA conference in Ireland? No, no. My understanding is the next IRVA conference in 2026 is going to be in Dayton, Ohio. And the
Right.
reason for that is because there's a historical connection there. And I don't remember what it is. It has something to do with Dale Graff and something that happened in Dayton in the very
Yeah.
beginning. And so do you remember what that was, Lynn?
Yeah. I think it's the um, where they delivered the bodies of the, Roswell bodies. I
Oh,
think
when Dale he didn't mention the Roswell bodies, but he said something about the university and some studies that were done there in the very beginning when they were just starting the unit, and that's why they want to have it there historically.
okay.
Anyway, but that,
That's not where it started at all, but yeah,
yeah, I know it didn't start there. It had
no,
something to do with him and the university.
yeah,
Dale.
okay, yeah. But when I was talking to him at IRVA, he seemed to focus on the UFOs.
That's so odd. Totally, both of us talking to him at Irva and totally two different, totally two different
Yeah.
responses. Oh well, anyway, then Lynn, June 2025, Webb said you cannot change the past, but you can access the past to influence a different outcome in the future. Wouldn't this change the past? Like if I injured my back, so I can go back and I can warn myself not to join in the event, and then this wouldn't happen. Nope, that's where when it goes off. I'm sorry, I'll let you take it, Lynn, because he's asking
You
you.
can go back and warn yourself, but then historically, you didn't accept your warning.
Yeah, so you can't go back and then make it not happen, in other
No,
words.
no.
And then, so in my mind, this changes my future, but as I'm looking at it, the minute it's changing my past. So if I warn myself, this would in fact change everything. Yeah. So what you're still saying, though, anonymous attendee, is that you think you can change the past, but you can't. You
No.
injured your back. You go and you say, I'm going to warn myself not to injure my back, but it's too late. You already injured it. You're not going to uninjure it. You're gonna not going to
Right.
keep it from happening because it already happened.
Yeah.
As I
The,
mentioned at Irva teaching the class I was teaching, I
Mhm.
get sad letters from people who say, my child was killed in this accident. Is there a way for me to go back and warn myself so I can keep the accident from happening? And sadly, no, you cannot change the past once it's happened on this timeline.
the trick of influencing the past is like we were talking about the ambience exercise. You do that often enough, and pretty soon you pay attention to to the hindsight coming in from the future, and you start making the decisions that will keep you from being in a car wreck or injuring your back and all that, because you're passing hindsight into it. And the secret of it is, I mean, it's easy to pass hindsight in. The secret of it is teaching you to be sensitive to that and pay attention. And that's practice.
Trixie, are our flash focus classes now available on the website?
As
The
far
past ones?
as, not yet, we haven't deployed them.
Oh, we haven't deployed them yet. Okay, but soon we will be revealing a whole plethora of $49 classes that you can take, guys.
Hmm.
Each one is like 90 minutes long, I think, or something like that. And we have one that is about this very thing, anonymous attendee, where it's a 90-minute class on how all this works, and it's totally worth the $49. It should be on. It's already ready, but I think it's a page they're creating that has all of them on there, and that's the only reason they're not available yet is that the web guys are working their magic. But soon that will be available. And then he says, I'm also struggling, he or she says, I'm also struggling with the difference between nouns and adjectives. Does it matter if I write a few nouns down? I'm dyslexic and I find this part really hard and I really think about the words instead of being spontaneous, letting in the conscious mind. I just want to state that my very first session that I did with Lynn, after taking the 3-day course, I started writing and Lynn's like, that's a noun. That's a noun. I couldn't put my pen on the paper without writing a noun down. Everything I wrote was nouns. And it took me a while to really, and I had taught fifth grade grammar. So I know the difference between a noun and an adjective, but still, your brain is so used to thinking in nouns that it's a hard habit to break. And basically, what you're asking here is it okay if I can write down nouns? No. You
Oh,
can write
no.
them down, but you got to set them aside and learn to describe.
Yeah.
And it's really
So,
difficult. And it has nothing
the
to do with,
subconscious mind does not think in nouns.
no,
And
it
the
doesn't.
subconscious mind is the one that's psychic. So when you score your session, look at your summary, set aside the nouns, and read the descriptors, and they will describe the target. The nouns will not. Okay.
They won't.
And, um, you know, our language determines our thought, and our language is built on subject, verb, object, noun, verb, noun. And our entire language is built on nouns. So it's hard. It's very difficult to overcome.
And so basically, if somebody says, hey, I'm trying to learn to break the noun habit, but it's really, really hard, can I just not do it? The answer is,
Mhm.
well, you can, but if you use nouns, you'll find that you won't have any accuracy. And I'll be going through someone's summary, and we'll be scoring it for accuracy, and it'll be like every descriptor will be accurate, 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 and then suddenly there's a noun there and the noun's wrong. So the
Mhm.
only no's that they get, or the only like missed ones or incorrect ones, are always the nouns. So,
Yeah.
and also one thing that Lynn said that helped me so much years ago, Lynn, you said to me, usually the nouns of the question are already known, and we're always trying to give people the nouns like, so, and I think of Pam Coronado telling me that she was working with the police on a murder case. And she had this visual of this man going like this. And she said, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, he's stabbing her with a knife." And the detective said, "No, no, he beat her up with a baseball bat."
Yeah.
She saw this motion and she put the knife mentally in the guy's hand, right? So knife is a noun. As soon as
Mhm.
she got the whole idea of the knife, and then she's telling the police
Yeah.
he killed her with a knife, and the guy's like, "No, we already know how he killed her. He killed her with the baseball
Yeah.
bat. That's not why we need you." So a lot of times we think it's super cool as psychics to give the answer to the police, but every time we
Mhm.
try that, either it's wrong or they already knew it. Like, tell me something
Yeah.
I don't know. So
We
the
had a we had a natural psychic come in. We gave him the task of viewing the a clean room where they were creating computer chips. And he said, "This is a big building." He was right. He said, "This room is spotless clean." And he was right. And he described the room and he described the people in them as being fully clothed with, with masks over their face and in the floppy, and they're wearing soft shoes and all this. And he was completely 100% correct. And then he said, and the surgeons in this operating room are working on this guy who's near death. And the minute he said the surgeons, it was over. From then on, he was 100% wrong. And that one noun ruined an entire session.
Yeah, bummer. Okay, thank you so much. So Elisa asked, she's asking, she said, "I sent this question via email as well, so I'll take the chance to ask here. I'm in your ARV course, Learning to Make Faster Decisions for Myself. I'm at chapter 4. I haven't finished yet, and I'm totally fascinated by the possibility of asking future me what best choice is about something. I realize, though, I get stuck on how to formulate the questions or options because I'm trying to make decisions about when and where to move, and maybe that's not a good topic to work with. Thanks." Trixie, could you post the
Oh,
how to find your perfect location? Because I actually have a specific class on how to find locations if you're trying to make a decision about where and when to move. I have a class on specifically on how to do that, and it's free. And Trixie can post it there in the. It's a blog actually, but it's a class that I put in. I have a lot of classes in my blogs, guys, just as a hint. But yeah, so it is really a great thing to do. And when we have that class available, the 90-minute one on how to get in touch with your future self, it's a whole 90-minute class on how to do that. But the class you have, the ARV course, definitely covers that really thoroughly, Eliza. So I think you'll find if you just stick with the course, it'll become clearer because if you're on chapter 4, I mean, there's a lot of chapters in that one, depending on whether you're talking about Lynn's course or my course. I'm assuming you were talking about mine, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so just because Lynn, in your course, do you talk about getting in touch with your future self in your
oh,
AR?
yes.
So it could be your course then too.
Oh, yeah.
Eliza, you'll have to let us know if you're talking about Lynn's class or my class. But either way, though, I think whether it's Lynn's or mine, if you finish the course, give yourself time to finish the course. And then if the question's still there, let us know. And then also Trixie can post some things in the chat. She's posting the finding your ideal location too, and that'll help you a lot, Eliza, as well. I don't know if we did a good job. And then John says, in some of my meditation teachings, there are great lessons in not identifying with anything. As soon as we identify, we have an attachment. Can you describe your feeling when you know the ego is trying to identify something so the viewer can realize the difference? Very good. That's great. And Angelina says, next question. I struggle with remembering my dreams. I tried to do what you said and ask before bed to remember them. I even have a notepad and then it's blank. I also have trouble visualizing. Are dreams important to CRV? And the reason Angelina's asking that is because in the free course that I teach, the very beginning of the free course, I talk about dreams a little bit. And because,
Oh,
people
yeah.
are always asking about dreams, I talk a little bit about dreams and the different types of dreams because I'm kind of discussing psychic ability generically in the beginning.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't think that directly dreams are important to CRV. I think it's a separate kind of a thing. However, I do have a lot of students who say, man, since I started taking CRV, my dreams are getting wild, and I've started
Yeah.
to have precognitive dreams and things. So dreams can correlate because we're stirring the subconscious pot when we're doing CRV.
Right.
You're stirring that subconscious pot, and of course, dreams are directly tied to the subconscious. So they can affect each other.
Yeah.
I've had dreams where I'm doing a session and the next day I do the session I dreamt about or things like
Yeah.
that. So dreams can correlate, but if you're not remembering your dreams, and I'm going to tell everybody this in case it makes you feel better, I've always been like a super dreamer and have precognitive dreams, and dreams have always guided me. But then in 2014, I got diagnosed with sleep apnea and I started using a CPAP machine, and I started really having deep sleep for the first time in my life. And when I started having really deep sleep, I started finding that I wasn't remembering my dreams as much because I was sleeping better.
Yeah.
Was having, and also CRV has greatly relieved me of a ton of anxiety. I used to have so much anxiety 24/7, and I
Mhm.
don't have nearly that much. I still have anxious moments, but it's not like before at all. CRV has helped, and CRV and Lynn have helped me a whole lot
Yeah.
with relieving anxiety. So I would say that don't worry about it. That's ultimately what I would say. Is just don't worry about it. If you remember, you're great. If you don't, that's okay too. But
Yeah.
just focus on CRV. It's a separate thing.
Yeah, and you've got to understand that in dreams you're getting pure subconscious mind, and so you're getting symbology, you're getting analogies, you're getting all this other stuff. One of the major things that you learn in CRV is how to understand your subconscious mind's language that it uses. And as you do that, your dreams won't really change, but you'll start understanding what they mean. Okay.
And Lynn,
And yeah.
tell me if you, I mean, you might tell me if you disagree or agree with this. I felt like when I started taking CRV with you, that I stopped, I didn't stop having dreams, but it was almost like prior to taking CRV, dreams were my primary method of connecting with my subconscious. Whereas once I
Yeah.
started doing CRV, I started having stuff happen during the day when I was awake and all kinds of things started opening up to me. And it's almost like I didn't need to have that one channel as
Right.
strong as it used to be.
Yeah.
And so,
When you give your subconscious mind rights and responsibilities, there are times when you can't shut it up. And it's just gonna come, you'll be awake, you'll be asleep, and it will come and say, "Hey, I've got something important for you." And
yeah.
yeah.
It's like having a 2-year-old, they're like, is your kid
Yeah.
talking yet? And you're like, oh my God, is my kid talking? Can't shut that kid up.
Yeah.
Jennifer asked, excuse me, what are skinwalkers? And
They don't know.
they don't really know, but if you look at like Navajo lore, particularly some of the Native American tribes, it was like a thing that the Native Americans could do to turn into, kind of morph into other animals
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, and my husband Jim really has had experience with skinwalkers that he would love to talk to you about, but you can look it up, Jennifer, and get the answer to that. Don, I'm so sorry to hear that you've been sick. Don, I've seen you for years, and I'm so sorry. I knew that you hadn't been around much, and I wondered. So I'm so sorry that you've been ill. And we've had students along the way. Do you remember John Lynn, tall John with the blue eyes that worked for the post office in Minneapolis or Minnesota somewhere? And he asked you once because he had had so many back surgeries and
Oh
he,
yeah.
he was on Neurontin and all these different drugs. And
Yeah.
and he had to take that stuff just to feel normal. And
Yeah.
the last couple of years of Mel Riley's life too, he was on a lot of painkillers and a
Yeah.
lot of different things. And it was hard to remove you while on all those drugs. At the same time, though, Sometimes I have had some amazing sessions right after surgery when I was on painkillers.
Yeah. Mm.
So sometimes you just have to, and the only thing I could say is if you're writing stuff down or recording it, if you can't write, if you're using a recorder, just have someone score it for accuracy. Do practice targets so you can see
Uh,
how whether the drugs are affecting the accuracy or not. And
yeah.
just see what you get. Um, and then let's see, how about if you're already a trained psychic medium, advanced level, does this give you any benefit or limitation to start CRV training compared to someone with no similar background? You, can I take a stab at this?
Right ahead. Mhm.
I was just going to say that, like, for example, I have many students who are professional psychic mediums. That's how they earn their living.
Mhm.
Some are well known and really successful and have TV shows and I've been on lots of documentaries, several of them. So and I asked one of them in particular and said, why, like she's taken all my courses several times. And I said,
Mm.
you were already famous before you started working with me. What drew you to CRV and why are you sticking with it? Because I really wanted to know because she was so successful
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
talented. And
Mhm.
she said, oh my gosh, she said, CRV has increased my psychic ability 400%.
That's right.
So those were her words. And then she also said, it also taught me that I don't need special conditions before I can be psychic. Like I used
Mhm.
to think I had to meditate first and I had to have this, do this and that. And she said, now it's just one of the things I really try to impress on my students is being resilient and being tough and no prima donnas allowed. Like, oh, I
Mhm.
can't view without my lucky rabbit's foot. You know,
Oh yeah.
I can't view if it's too noisy. I can't view if I started my viewing, as Lynn can attest, with a zillion children climbing the walls, and
Mhm.
having a crazy full-time job with refugees calling 24/7, Mrs. Lori, please do help me. So I was like, and so it was a crazy, chaotic time, and I would call in crying because my husband was driving long haul at that time, and he could be, he would do a session a day from start to finish with a summary and everything, and he was viewing every single day, and I was lucky if I could complete one target a week, if that. And I called Lynn
Mhm.
and said, "Oh, I can't do that." And he said, Lori, you're going to be a really resilient, versatile viewer.
Yeah.
So,
I've had several classes limited to good professional, proven good professional psychics. And I don't teach them the remote viewing part of it. I teach them the control part of it. And I've had almost everyone say, in my method, I sit down and, and set the everything right and get in the right condition. And I may fast for 3 days before a session or something. And I have my lucky charms and all this. And then I just let it happen. And they say, but with what you taught me, I can make it happen. The structure gives me the control. I don't teach the remote viewing to them. I teach the controls.
yeah, I think that if you're a trained psychic medium, I don't know that it gives you any benefit in that sometimes I've had a couple of trained psychics and psychic mediums who were really attached to nouns because they wanted to name the target. And they would
Oh yeah.
argue with me and say, why can't I name the target? And I'd say, well, in the technique you use, you can, but in this technique, we stick to describe, don't identify, and you'll find that it actually increases your accuracy. And so
Yeah.
many psychic mediums I have like, that was a key thing. Just describe, don't identify really changed.
I have a better way. I say I want to name the target and all that. I say, okay, here's the target. We pulled at random. Okay. You do your session. They do the session and they look at it and they say, well, I was right, but I was wrong too. And I say, okay, now cross out the nouns. Judge this by your nouns only, and they'll say it was garbage. And I say, judge it by your descriptors only, and they'll say, I got 100%. As simple as that. And just let them prove it to themselves.
Another thing I've noticed too is that if you have somebody who is like a psychic medium and that's what they do as their business, and so they have to advertise, they have to recruit customers, they have to manage taxes and do all that. A lot of left brain work in managing a business. You have to develop your left brain to be able to manage a business, but they also have good right brain skills. Those people do the best if they have a good balance of left and right brain skills. People who are 100% left brained or 100% right brained struggle more with this method, is what I found, is that they just struggle more. So I would say it's hard to answer your question, anonymous attendee, because it's going to depend on the individual person and the habits they've developed and that sort of thing. And then, is anyone teaching classes for people who already have training in other remote viewing, clairvoyance techniques or disciplines, or is it best to take regular CRV from the ground up? My personal opinion is that it's best to take regular CRV from the ground up, simply because it'll feel tougher, but it's really great training. It's kind of like going through, like, is there a way for me to become an officer in the military without going through basic training? No, because if you end up in battle, you have to have gone through basic training, right? So
Right. Yeah.
that would be my answer to that. I mean, like as Lynn mentioned, he's developed certain classes. Like I have a special class that I teach for people with dyslexia, because they need more kinesthetic,
Yeah.
and I taught this one class that it was pure people with dyslexia. I did it that way on purpose. And late after I taught it, Jim, who's seen me teach the class a gazillion times, said,
Mhm.
"You've taught that class really differently from the way that you've taught other classes." And I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's because everybody in the class had dyslexia. So they were kinesthetic learners. So I had to change the class to make it kinesthetic." And so that's the thing too, is, it's great to adjust classes based on the students attending. Of course, now we have people taking video courses, and a lot of times we don't even know who's taking video courses. I had so many people come up to me at Urban saying, "I'm one of your students, I'm taking your video course." But that's kind of a drawback, isn't it, Lynn? Because you want to meet every single student, you want to know each one. But now that we have so many students signing up and taking classes, we don't get to meet
Oh,
them
yeah.
all.
It's hard. Yeah.
And Lynn's wife, Linda, used to say, "You two don't have a business. You just have an ever increasing circle of friends." Because
Yeah.
Lynn and I both love our students. But anyway, so
Yeah. One thing I would say to Anonymous
yeah.
is there are a lot of people out there claiming that they teach CRV and they don't. And one way to watch out for, if they see the secret method used by the military, it was never classified. If they don't know that, they don't know CRV. Okay. And they will teach things saying, I'm teaching CRV. And what they're teaching is what they've done their whole life on something else. And so if you've taken other remote viewing courses that were not the military course or clairvoyance techniques or things like that, uh, then you've probably developed your talent and your ability. But now, if you take CRV from the ground up, you learn control over that, and you also learn how to talk to your subconscious, how to understand it. And there are times when in the advanced levels that I'm sorry, but the other methods don't work. Okay. You take clairvoyance, okay? And the task is draw me the floor plans of where the hostage is being held so we can rescue them without getting them killed. Can Will that method allow you to draw accurate floor plans? CRV will. And so I would say no matter what you've done, it won't hurt to take the CRV. It will usually help.
Okay, great. Catherine asked, "Thank you both for doing this. I was wondering what the youngest age a child can take CRV. I would love to take one of the classes with a daughter. Thank you." Oh, Catherine, when I started this journey, I had 7 kids from the ages of, I think, 17 or 18 down to 3 years old. And when I first met Lynn and started this journey, and my little guys, I mean, I still come when I'm digging through papers and trying to clean things up, I find sessions from my kids, my little kids when they were little. I found one from my son, a son who is now 38, number 6 in the lineup of my children, Joe. And I found a session he did when he was 11, and it was a full-blown session. I have had students come with their kids and take the course. And the first course I ever took with Lynn had a 12-year-old in the class. a man, a sheriff, and his son took it, and the kid was 12. I've had 11-year-olds that came with a parent to take it, and they did great. They were perfectly able to handle it. I also have, excuse me, I have a lot of fun things to enhance kids' abilities that I used to do with my kids all the time. Fun games, lots and lots of hands-on games that I would do with them, just to enhance their abilities. Because CRV, as it is for adults, can seem a little dry, boring for
Yeah.
kids, but you can make it fun, and you can insert like really fun
Mhm.
games to enhance different things. So it depends how, let us know how young, you can always reach out, and
Yeah.
let us know what age, if you want to if you want to bring them to a live class. I do have the basics starting next week. So, you would
Hmm.
love to have you bring your child. I love
I
kids.
have I have found that young kids have not learned to fight it and have not, and that they generally make very good remote viewers. Uh, but because the US is so litigious, uh, I absolutely demand that any person, any minor, even up through high school, okay, has to be accompanied by their parents. Uh,
Yeah,
'Cause,
that's smart. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
you have a kid take remote viewing and then they go out and do something, right, and the mother can claim, oh, the CRV taught them to do that. The CR, I'm going to sue them, and you know, uh, the U.S. is too litigious. I require the parents to be there.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I have never had a kid in my course without a parent. Excuse me. Bernhard asks, what are your suggestions to view or determine best the dates of coming future events? Excuse me. Using different time periods in the future, viewing activities at several different dates in the future, using a timeline, or thank you. Now, I have to say that in my own experience, people who view an event and then say, when is this going to happen, tend to be way off, and really, really way off. Whereas if you say, Bernhard, I have a target for you, and you don't know where it is or when it is, but I'm going to attach a date, and I'm going to attach a time, like a certain date at a certain time. Let's say the target is the White House in Washington, D.C., March 4th, 2026 at 3 p.m. And I give you that, then you're actually moving to a specific point in the future and viewing what's happening at that location at that moment in time. And that tends to be more accurate than trying to just like, oh, like view the worst thing that's going to happen in 2026.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now tell me when it's going to happen. Believe me, I've been a viewer on those kinds of targets. Not good, not healthy. And generally I haven't found one yet that's accurate on the timing. So my personal opinion is that I'm very strongly biased in favor of choosing a place and a date and a time and giving it to a viewer and having them view it, and just they're moving to that specific thing and they're seeing what's happening. Can something change it since it's a future date? Possibly something could happen that would intervene and change it. But I think you have better chances of accuracy than trying to view an event and then determining when that event is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. The secret is usually in the tasking. The more accurate the tasking, the more accurate the results. But you also have to understand that if you predict something like well, I've had drug interdictions to where I've said, they say, okay, uh, when and where will the drugs come across the border and what they're going to do with them? Okay. And I'll do my session, and they have the police there. They come across the border and they arrest them. Okay. And so then the rest of my session as to what they're going to do with those drugs is wrong. If you act on a prediction, you will change the future. And that figures into it as well. Okay. So, yeah, there are many, many problems with accuracy and predicting the future.
Yeah, it's from Mel Riley said, I was part of a project. We tried to view the future, but the damn thing wouldn't stand still. So-
Well, of course not.
Mai says, I lost my husband almost 2 years ago and have been healing. I would like to come back to CRV. I'm not sure how grieving or healing interferes. Mai, first of all, my condolences, our greatest condolences to you for the loss of your husband. That's got to be such a heartache. Grief, I have been experiencing a lot of grief in the last 5 years. In 2020, we lost 15 people very close to us, including Mel Riley, who is my best friend, my mother. We just lost a ton of people in 2020. And then since then, I mean, Lynn lost Linda. What year did Linda pass away, Lynn?
Going on 5 years now. Yeah.
And yeah, and then
October the 30th. Yeah. 5 years.
so it
And
was
I'm still not over it. Yeah.
yeah, and then I lost my daughter not to death but to illness and to mental illness, and it's a huge heavy grief is just
Yeah.
and grief is a weird monster too because it can rise up when you least expect it. My nephew committed suicide this last December 30th of 2024, right before the and my sister, of course, is you can imagine my sister and her husband are
Mhm.
grieving, and just grief just kind of raises its head so unexpectedly. So the best advice I have for you is to be very, very gentle with yourself while you're healing.
Yeah.
Give yourself time, and if you are in the mood to do a practice session or to work with someone and you do it, it can be helpful because it's a distraction. And
Yeah.
you can kind of move away from the grief for a little while to do a session,
Yeah.
or and to get involved in something else. And my sister and her husband, I feel, are very wise because they're going to plays, they're going out with friends, they're hosting dinner parties and things just to keep themselves from sinking so deeply into their grief that they can't manage it. But at the same time, they attend survivors groups and suicide groups and things because he committed suicide. So they are also taking care of themselves psychologically through therapy and through
Yeah.
groups and things. So kind of having a balance of distraction and kindness, and then also going into taking care of yourself through therapy and things can be.
You look at the mechanics of that question. It's gone.
I'm sorry. Let me pull it back up. It's right
Can
here.
you bring it back up? Yeah.
Well, you can go. Oh, let's see. Well, I thought I could. Oops.
It's
Uh,
gone.
it's gone. Sorry. I
Okay.
didn't mean to make it gone.
The mechanics of the question is, will it influence my viewing? The answer is yes, but the mechanics of what you do about it, okay, is it will influence your session if you allow it. If you don't allow it, you set it aside in the beginning. And remember, you're saying, so for now, I'm setting it aside. Then you pick it up again at the end. But during the session, you come up with something and it brings back a memory or a feeling of that loss. Important tool, take a break. When you come back, don't go back to the thing that is, connected there. Move to another part of the site and continue remote viewing that. And just tell yourself, okay, at the end, I'm going to pick all this up. So for now, I'm not worrying about it. I'm going to find out why I think this thing is red, okay, or why I think this thing is, or I'm going to find out how big it is, or something like that. Move to another part of the target. Don't go back to the thing that reminds you about the problem.
Yes, that's a great answer. And Luciana, if you're in a slump, the best thing to do is keep practicing. Try to find fun things to do outside of just practice targets, and be sure to come to the club meetings because I can also help you there as well. But regarding being tired, I have enjoyed doing sessions under every condition just to see how that goes. Like if I'm tired, if I'm really energized, if
Mhm.
I'm, just different times of the month and things. You like, if I'm feeling really depressed and sad, how does that affect a session versus if I'm feeling really happy and joyful, and things like that. So you can just kind of do it as an experiment. Like if you're tired, some people view better when they're tired. Other people view
Yeah.
worse when they're tired. So it's individual. You'll have to just see what works for you and kind of look at it as an experiment and just see.
And to find out what works for you, keep documentation, keep data. And the data, if you're accurate with it, it will tell you how to respond to this condition successfully. It will tell you what does and doesn't work.
Yes, and okay, so I want to clear one thing up. Karen, you mentioned about the yes. Yes is a magic word that we use if we want to set aside something and we don't want other people in the room, maybe who are observing the session, to know what we're talking about. So I always use this as an example, like let's say you had terrible gas and you were going to do a session and didn't want everybody in the room to know you had terrible gas. You didn't have to say, you don't have to say, well, I'm having terrible gas and I'm trying to work through that. Da, 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 so I'm not, for now, I'm not worrying about it. For now, I'm setting aside gas. You didn't want to necessarily do that in front of everybody. So you could then instead just say, well, I'm battling with yes. And you can use yes as a magic word to replace the word or the sentence that you don't want necessarily everyone to know about. So
Yeah.
only you know what the yes means. And
You
so
know what it means, and nobody has the right to ask you.
nobody has the right to ask you what it means. And then she says that she saw this word yes, and then she took the class, and I was talking about the yes thing. So that was definitely a
Yeah.
premonition.
Mhm.
And she said it felt like my subconscious was giving me a heads up about what was coming. Do you think that could have been a premonition? Definitely. Is this
Yeah.
what can happen when studying remote viewing? Yeah, this kind of thing happens to me all the time. It probably happens to Lynn all the time too, and probably to a lot of the viewers who are right
Oh,
here.
that one session that happened with the attack at Ramadan, I was working alone in a room, and stage 7 happened, and I was working alone. Someone leaned over my shoulder and said, "You're not going to believe what comes next." Uh, I was in the room alone,
Mm.
and yet it was real to me. And I went ahead with the session, and sure enough, I didn't believe what was going to come next. Neither did the people that I turned it into, but they kept going up the chain of command, and people would say, "I don't believe that, but we'd better investigate." And sure enough, when they investigated, it was totally accurate. Saddam Hussein was going to bomb the Hajj at the Feast of Ramadan, kill off all the other leaders, and then he would be the only Arab leader in charge of all Arab countries. And yeah, and I said, no Arab would do that. But
You
anyway,
know what, guys? I just noticed what time it was. I can't believe it. I didn't even realize. I haven't been paying attention to the time. We've been
yeah.
going an hour and 43 minutes, and we're only supposed to go an hour. I just wasn't paying attention, Lynn. I
Oh,
apologize.
yeah. Okay. I was thinking we only went 44 minutes. Yeah.
I know we've been going an hour and the time just flew by. I don't know, I was in a time warp. So I apologize, guys. We do need to cut it off because I have another meeting in a few minutes that I have to
Oh,
go to. And so I apologize that we didn't get to answer everybody's questions. There's still 37 questions. Trixie, could you make sure that to copy the 37 questions we haven't gotten to yet so I can always, a lot of those are my students I see and I can respond to them
good.
myself.
Mhm.
Yvonne,
Yeah.
I definitely can get back to you, Yvonne. Martin, you can definitely reach out to me, and Deborah Furcher, Andy Gustafson, Ian, for sure. So those of you who are my students, you can just forward those questions to me in email, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Anyway, guys, thank you. I'm so sorry. We just couldn't get to everybody's, but thank you guys so much for everybody being here. I really appreciate it. You guys have done such a wonderful job of just hanging out with us. We had over like I don't know, about 106 people, 110 people here at one point. So I'm glad
Mhm.
I think these are important. And also, guys, so next month, Trixie, when is our next one? Our
Just
next one,
sorry. I'm checking.
Lynn and Lori webinar. Do you know when it is, Lynn? Do you have it on your calendar?
It's the
It,
second Tuesday of the month, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's what we usually try to do
So
to
that would be the
11th.
November.
11th.
Right, okay. I don't have it on mine for some reason.
It would be the 11th of November.
The 11th of November, so I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there. That is also Veterans Day, um, just in case.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm going to put it in here, guys. The 11th of November is Lyn and Lori webinar. And that will be the Lyn and Lori webinar. And then the December 9th is also the second Tuesday. However, December 9th, I'm going to be in Amarillo watching my granddaughter in a chorus. So I might not be able to do it December 9th, but we could do it possibly December 2nd. If you could do it that day, if you're available, Lynn, we could do it December 2nd.
Let me see. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure anything that's there, I can move it around. Yeah.
Okay, so I put us in for December 2nd. Um, go. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. Well, we can move the flash focus, can't we, Trixie? We can
Yes,
Yeah.
and
move that. We'll move the flash focus. We could put the flash focus someplace else. You know what, let's do? Let's push the flash focus into the evening. We've never had an evening one, but let's do it
Yeah.
at 6 p.m. The flash
Mhm.
focus. So Lynn, we'll still do yours at noon, and we'll move my flash focus to 6 p.m. And that way, that would be good. Okay. And so for now, anyway, we'll do it that way. And Trixie, if we need to change it, we can. Yeah,
Okay.
December's a busy month. We've got a ton of kids to visit for Christmas. So we're going to take a long road trip with our dogs in our motorhome, and we're going to visit the kids in Amarillo, the kids in Oklahoma, the kids in Fort Worth, the kids in San Antonio, the kids in Austin, the kids, we're just going to be all over the place visiting our bazillion children and their grandchildren. Okay, guys, so we're going to sign off here. Trixie, were you able to get the questions recorded?
Yes,
Okay,
done.
thank you so much. Lynn, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy this every time.
I do too. I really love it. It's so fun. And thank you for giving your time to us and just
Oh, yeah.
everybody, we love you guys. We'll see you next month. So if
You
you
there.
didn't get your question answered, you can either save it for next month or you can mail it to either one of us. Lynn, are you able to answer questions via email nowadays?
I'm sorry.
Do you answer questions via email nowadays?
I do when I can. Yeah, I get so many email a day, and if I don't, generally Colleen will answer them. And to be honest about it, she gives better answers than I do anyway. So,
You're very, he's always very generous. He's always complimenting me and Colleen, and of course we graciously accept those compliments, but I'm not sure they're true. But yeah, guys, so you can always send the questions, Lynn Buchanan at beyondbb.com.
it's better to send it to Lynn Buchanan 2, that's the digit 2,
Number two.
at Gmail.
Lynn Buchanan. I need to change that in my thing then.
Yeah,
Lynn
uh-huh.
two at
Yeah, the Beyond BB has become so undependable that I'm moving everything over to Gmail.
Oh, that's great to know. Okay, well, I'm gonna change that right now before I forget. Um, so should I take the other one completely off or just add this one?
No, it's still active. You can
Okay,
send stuff there. Yeah.
so Lynn Buchanan too?
Yeah.
Lynn
At
Buchanan
gmail.com. Yeah.
gmail.com. Awesome. Okay. Got it in my contacts now. Okay,
Good.
guys. So, and you can write to me, Lori, at Intuitive
Mhm.
Specialists with an S at the end of specialist. Lori at intuitivespecialist.com. You can write me there. If you have any tech questions or need any help with certain like techie type things, you can always write to support at intuitivespecialist.com too. We have a wonderful customer support team and they are happy to answer your questions. Um, and so that's also very helpful. Anyway, so I hope that this has been helpful to you guys. Thank you so much. And Trixie put all that in the chat, guys. If you want to just copy the chat right now before we sign off, that would be probably good for you to do if you wanted to get all those links and all those goodies. And appreciate you all very much. And we'll sign off now. And we'll see you next month. And tonight, just so you know, coming up this week, so tonight is basic Club PRV. Tomorrow is intermediate Club PRV. When Thursday is advanced, it's the operational. So tomorrow is actually intermediate and advanced practice. And then the day after tomorrow is our intermediate and advanced operational. work, where we're doing actual operational targets. And the people are going to be getting feedback. And then Trixie says we will attach all the links in the recording post as well. Okay, so she's going to also do that. When you guys get a recording of this, you'll get the recording as well. Anybody who signed up for it will get the recording, even those who could not attend it. We'll also be posting this in the PRV forum, and we also put it up on our YouTube channel, Intuitive Specialist YouTube channel. The Lyn and Lori webinars go there. Lynn, do you post the Lyn and Lori webinars anywhere?
Do I post where?
Do you post the Lyn and Lori webinars anywhere?
No, I don't. I post my webinars that I have.
Oh, well, you can
I
always,
haven't been posting ours. I try to record them afterwards. I can't record them while, but I try to get your recordings and keep a copy.
oh,
And I
yeah,
can't post them. They're your property, so I didn't know.
oh,
But
no, we can share those with you. You can post them on,
okay,
and also I know that your wonderful son Leonard, who I've completely fallen in love with, he's so awesome, Leonard and Lisa, that we've gotten
yeah,
really close. And I realize I
good.
don't even have his contact info. I have Lisa's, but I don't have his. I got to get his. But anyway, we had such a long, delightful conversation at Irva.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mhm.
so we will, oh, and so he is building you a wonderful YouTube channel. And so I can send them to him as well with Trixie. Trixie, remind me to get Leonard Buchanan's
Yeah.
contact info and
We
send.
have updated the remoteviewranch.com with new videos, so you may want to take a look at that too.
Ooh, I want to take a look at
Viewranch.com.
remoteviewranch.com.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lynn. Bye.
Bye-bye.